It was rural Ireland, and Patrick was really looking forward to make his first Holy Communion. His friends were all talking in school about wearing a really cool black suit or brown suit, but he heard nobody speak about a white suit. He used to love watching the old gangster movies with his parents, and they all wore white suits and really cool patent black and white shoes. He was very poor and his parents couldn't even afford a suit, don't mind say a really cool white suit like the ones he used to watch in the old gangster movies. His mom knew a woman called Breda who used to make dresses, suits, cardigans, jumpers, etc. Patrick asked his mom to ask Breda how much would it be to make a white suit like the gangsters used to wear in the movies. Breda gave a price which he would be years saving up if he put away every single bit of pocket money he earned, and he knew that wouldn't work. 1. He had to buy food for school. 2. His communion would be long over by the time he saved enough money to get the suit made. Finally, when he was telling his dad's friend, he was given a chance to make his dream become a reality. Joe, his dad's friend, said to Patrick, "Well there, boy, you sure have your heart set on this white suit. What is it, nearly 2 months to your Holy Communion? Well, why don't you help me out in the factory? We make chairs, tables, and all sorts of really nice furniture." Patrick's face lit up and he said enthusiastically, "Gee, sir, that sounds a mighty swell idea." Joe said, "Well, ask your mom and dad, is it okay, and I can get you started in the next few days." Patrick's parents thought the idea was great and gave him the go-ahead, but made him promise to finish any schoolwork he had before he started his workday. Patrick finished school at 2:30, had his homework done by 4, and went out to work at 4:30 every day and finished at 7:30. He worked Monday to Friday and got around Joe to give him an extra day on Saturday where he worked from 9 to 1. After the first week, Patrick was exhausted. He learned how to use the saws and the cutting machine, etc. One day, while cutting a piece of wood for a table, he was feeling exhausted and his eyes closed for a few seconds. Everyone was startled and looked around. Patrick fell on top of the saw and there was blood pumping out of where his arm should have been. The saw cut his left arm completely off. The blood squirted on people as they came to help him. Patrick was sent to the nearest hospital and was depressed knowing he had his arm cut off on top of not having any money to buy his white suit. He was very withdrawn in school when he went back, but his friends were very supportive, apart from 2 bullies, Fred and Gary, who seemed to be evil. They used to bully him before his accident, and they didn't stop after. Since the accident, Patrick didn't feel right. Something was strange. He had a beautiful dream and wished it happened in real life. To his shock, a day later, his dream became a reality. The dream that became a reality was that word got out around the community about his accident, and it made the local and even national newspapers. Word got out, and Patrick was thrilled one day when a parcel arrived for him. His mom called him and told him. He opened it up and his face lit up when he saw that it was a really cool white suit, just like the one he wanted. The next day, 3 parcels arrived with white suits, the next 5, and by the end of the week, there were hundreds of white suits sent by people who heard about the story on the news. Patrick was thrilled, telling his friends at school about the suits and said there were so many they all had to be kept in their shed. Unfortunately, the two bullies, Fred and Gary, overheard him. They had planned to sneak into the shed tomorrow night, which would be Friday night, and throw red paint all over the suits and cut them to shreds. Patrick was really excited looking through all his white suits before going to school. It was sports day, so Patrick played different sports and had fun with his friends. Fred and Gary were unusually quiet. That night, Fred and Gary were putting their plan into action, and they both planned to have a sleepover and snuck out of their house and went to the shed in Patrick's garden. They were delighted to see it wasn't even locked. Fred whispered, "See, I told you, who'd want to lock a garden shed?" They both opened the door, slow, ready to throw the red paint all over the suits and cut them to shreds. As the door opened, they both screamed as there was a huge bang of his dad's bear trap, trapping the boys' legs. They screamed in pain as they both had their legs caught in the bear trap his dad brought over years ago from his hunting days in America. Patrick walked into view wearing a white suit, feeling like the gangsters in the old gangster movies. He held up his dad's shotgun and pointed at them and said, "Now I really feel like a gangster in those old gangster movies." The boys were screaming in pain, and Patrick smiled, thankful of his new quality. Since having the accident, he dreams of his future, which gave him the psychic visions of the two boys breaking in, ruining his suits. The boys tried, but couldn't figure out how he knew what they had planned. Patrick and his parents could not understand that when he woke up the morning after the accident, his arm was right there where it was ripped off the day before during the accident. He wore a cast in school for the next couple of weeks to avoid having to explain what they can't even explain.